What's up, Rito? Shade Tree Surgeon here on the Forgotten Angels property. Welcome home, as they say around here. And we're gonna be seeing all of you guys here pretty soon as well. If you're looking for instructions on what to do, what to bring, everything you need for the Forgotten Angels camp out, please go to ForgottenAngelsFlorida.org. There'll be all the info there. And today we're riding out on 2 motorcycles to go play with firearms, which is always fun. Bikes and guns go together like peas and carrots, even though these motorcycles are 2 very, very different ones. Let me go ahead and let David lead on the Goldwing today, because I love the way this twin cam sounds, but it's something about you being in control of the throttle that always makes a motorcycle sound better to you than it might sound to somebody who's got to ride behind you for an hour and a half. I don't know who on this earth has even come close to the amount of miles I put down on the road next to David, Richard from the Dirty Shame, and of course Shay Lisi. I think it's kind of a 3-way tie at this point. I've been across the country twice with David and twice with Shay Lisi. And while I've never taken a cross-country road trip with Richard, I did spend 20 years at the Dirty Shame riding motorcycles with him pretty much every day. So he's probably still in the lead. Might be a lot louder than the Wing, but it ain't keeping up. That's alright though. The Softail Springer fills a very different purpose than the Goldwing does. It's like the old saying goes, if you ain't got money, baby, you better be funny. This Softail certainly scoots for what it is, but it ain't keeping up with the Goldwing, so it better look cool while it's losing the race. And that it does, in my opinion, of course. Only felt right to get out on the old softy and stretch its legs one last time. By the time you see this video, there'll probably be less than 12 hours left to grab your ticket for it. With, of course, 100% of the proceeds going directly to Forgotten Angels. Nothing to see here, officer. Just a couple of good boys, members of the Law-Abiding Citizens Club, sir. Oh shit, he's behind us. Damn it. You know, usually I would say that David's my good luck charm because he does so much good. He puts so much amazing stuff out into this world that what cop would pull him over? He's out here doing the Lord's work. The only problem is he's got a little pigmentation situation, so I don't know how well that works out for us for avoiding direct contact with the fuzz.
My first car, Toyota Corona.
Oh!
Except for mine was turned brown. Much less appealing.
Oh, it's definitely a gorgeous ride out to the Sporting Clay range, which is usually par for the course. They put these things out in beautiful places, kind of like golf courses, but with guns. I've never felt the urge to go play golf. Every once in a while, I'll think to myself, like, I should probably, as an adult, that should be something I know how to do. I should know how to play golf, just like you should know how to pick out a glass of whiskey. You should know how to pick out a cigar and smoke it. You should know how to ride a motorcycle. You should know how to drive a stick shift car. I don't know. It seems like a grown-up, you ought to know how to play a game of golf. Just like, I don't know. I just have never been able to actually make myself go do it or felt any true urge to really want to try. That coupled with how expensive it is and how into it I see people get, like people who have never cared about golf, then they go play and it like takes over their life. No thank you. I've got enough stuff taking over my life. I think I'll skip that one. Know how to play a good game of darts and play pool to that list too. So I'm just making an arbitrary list though, and I'm only leaving golf off of it for as far as manly endeavors. It's my list after all, so you know, I'm just gonna put stuff that I know how to do on there. There we are, the Silver Dollar Shooters Club. Dig the name. Known quite a few queens of the silver dollar in my day. No moving parts. Our buddy Al, who donated this bike, was telling us about this place. Kind of like cabins out here, because people come out here and literally will come shoot clays for a couple weeks and they stay in these cabins. It's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, they don't even look up.
The same 2 deer come out. Dude, that's just a shame because they shouldn't be allowed to breed.
Pockets in those vests. Sort of whole box.
Nah, it doesn't work as good through the camera.
Because it gets...
I think we're talking about it, but I think that we're going to do a Forgotten Angels tournament, which we're just talking about golf earlier. They do lots of golf charity tournaments, but I think I'd probably have an easier time talking you guys out to come do a tournament that involved guns than one that involved golf clubs. Al's out here just showing me his setup, which looks pretty freaking slick, man. I know for sure Trap gun, much like a watch or motorcycle or car, is something that you can spend absolutely as much money as you want to on. There's no limit. However much money you want to spend on a trap gun, on a watch, on a car, or on a motorcycle, it doesn't matter what the number is. Somebody out there makes it.
Got to be the king.
All right, well, David's going to hop on the Softail Springer, and I'm going to try out the Goldwing, which I've ridden this around the block once before. It is the new Goldwing, but it's got that all-important clutch lever and shifter down there, which, I don't know, people say that the automatics are great, but couldn't talk me into it. And you couldn't talk David into it either, which is why it took him so long to get one of these. All right, what kind of incantations do I got to do to start this thing? It's crazy getting on this thing because they are awesome. It's a Goldwing. There's no way it's not going to be the best motorcycle ever built. It just doesn't quite feel like a Goldwing anymore, only just because it's so much smaller, which I guess is probably a good thing for a lot of people, but the previous generation, the previous 1800, it was just a massive bike, and this thing feels more like an ST 1300 than it does a Goldwing, which depending on who you talk to is definitely an upgrade. Wings have always had plenty of boogity, baby. They're not shy in that department. Even the old GL 1200s had triple-digit horsepower, so even though they're definitely touring bikes, it's not a stretch to call them sport touring bikes because any one of them will rip a wheelie all the way down the street. But this thing really is leaning into the sport part of sport touring, that's for damn sure. It's taking a little bit of getting used to that teal lever front end. I always feel a little disconnected when I first get on one. But once you get past that slight disconnection there, which is fine, it's not a bad thing really. They're just slightly different than a conventional front end. Once you get over that little difference, man, this thing handles like a dream. Yeah, it's got plenty of boogity. On the highway, this thing is so solid. The Goldwing is the fulcrum upon which you lay your lever to lift the earth. Nothing quite compares. I haven't ridden every bike, so I guess I can't say nothing quite compares, but I've ridden a lot. And I'll say that nothing that I've personally ridden could ever compare to a Goldwing. They're just the best, no matter which one they are. Maybe not the best looking, maybe not the best sounding, maybe not the absolute fastest or the best handling, although they do all of those things pretty well. But don't get it twisted. They are the best.
It seems like what you guys are looking for is some sort of P. Diddy style shrimping vessel.
All right, team, time to get back to work on the Mako. Trust me, I didn't forget about this thing. At 27 feet long with twin 200 Yamahas on the back of it, it's hard to miss. But with all the frustrations that I ran into trying to make the Optimax run that I previously had on the back of the Starcraft, I just really didn't fill me full of hope starting to work on these Yamaha HPDIs. They operate under pretty much the same theory that the Optimax does. From what everyone says, the HPDIs, even though they can be quirky, are much better engines than the Optimaxes. Here's to hoping, because right now, fuel injected two-strokes are not my bag, but they're on the back of the boat. I'm gonna at least try to get them running. The thing is, with what I paid for this boat, if I can get those running, even non-running with good compression, because they're still worth money, they're Yamahas, I could sell those engines, pay for the entire boat, and have enough money left over to repower it with twin 200 or even 250 carbureted V6 Johnson or Evinrude motors. Possibly some Mercury carbureted motors, though those old Black Max 200s and 250s, people still get a chunk of change for those things. But I could definitely score a couple of 200 or 250 Johnsons that probably have lower hours on them, easily rebuildable, carbureted. I know exactly how to work on them. In fact, I actually have one 200 Johnson, only need one more. Anyway, a bird in the hand is worth a finger in the bush. Am I right, boys? Let's see if we can make what's on there work. And I would be out on the Starcraft, but yeah, anyway, I went to change the trailer hub bearings because, you know, there wasn't anything left to change. So yeah, we had to order a few replacement parts because that hub is, as they say, no more.
This parrot is no more. It has ceased to be.
So I'm employing a little bit of a unique strategy here. I'm gonna see how it works out. I've decided to wait till the absolute hottest point of the day to start doing this job with no shade at all. So
I think it might work out pretty well for me. That might not. There we go. It's so freaking hot that I actually have to cover up my tools, because if they sit in the sun out here 1 minute, probably even less, they are so hot you cannot pick them up. Anyway, let's get to work. They say it's 15 degrees cooler on the water, but we're a little ways out from getting on the water. If you guys remember last time, we had good compression on, but we couldn't get an idle out of them. With these HPDIs, there's so many little tiny fuel filters on them. I have most of them that I got in a kit. So I'm gonna start by actually testing what my fuel pressure is right now before I swap a single filter and see what we're actually kicking out. Now, if I've got good fuel pressure, I'm still gonna change all these filters because they need it. But at least I'll know that it's time to start looking at something else and not that. Although I have a feeling from doing a little research on YouTube University that it's probably going to be a fuel pressure issue. Got a few different places to check, and we're going to start right on the vapor separator here. Just turning the engine on ought to prime this and give us a reading, so we'll see. I did not hear any fuel go off, though I am leaking it out of here, so it did prime something. I just didn't have this tight. So let's try that again. You know, I also just realized I don't have it hooked up to gas. I don't know if the oil goes directly in here. It might be priming just oil. So let me hook up a gas tank to this thing just to make sure we have something to build pressure with. That's stupid. Obviously, we can't build fuel pressure if there's no fuel, right? Starting off batting 1,000. All right, got an auxiliary fuel tank set up here, because I don't really want to pull out of the main tank until I take some time and polish them. And by polish them, I mean just run them through a water separator and make sure there's not a bunch of gunk in there. Okay, let's see if we get a reading now. Still didn't hear anything go off, but I do have a reading. Now, if only I knew what the reading was supposed to be. So I'm not getting the reading I want to see with just by turning the key on. But the internet is telling me that I should be getting like 50 pounds. Now, I think if I cycle the key a couple times, I'll probably get up to 50 pounds, but they're all saying to check it while it's running. I'm just gonna cycle the key a couple times and see what happens here. But yeah, after a couple cycles, I'm getting the correct fuel pressure, and it is starting to drop, which is not weird. I'm gonna hook up the water to it before I actually crank the thing over and see if that changes. It shouldn't actually run though. It didn't before. Let's see what we got now after cranking it. Definitely not what we want to see. But that could be our first culprit, and that could be either clogged up filters in there, or it could need a new pump inside that VST. So it's about to start, but it definitely doesn't want to. Try giving it some more fuel pressure manually. Although I don't know how much I can actually do with this squeeze bulb, because the air pump on top of these things runs at 700 PSI. No matter how much I practice browsing the web with my left hand, I just don't think I'm ever going to be strong enough to do that. Ain't no point in freaking cranking it over and over and over again. I know I gotta change those filters anyway. Let's get to it. Oh, French kiss me if I'm wrong, but this looks way too blue. It looks way too blue to be a mixture of oil and gas to me. Something tells me that this is mainly just oil that is pulling into the vapor separator here, probably from this tank or the onboard tank. And it's not actually even pulling too much fuel in. Yeah, it looks like straight oil to me. Don't look like there's any gas in there whatsoever. Maybe a little, but not much. That obviously could be a few different filters or pumps or whatever, but I think this guy right here is the first line of defense. So even before I pull the VVT off, or VST, I'm gonna go ahead and change this guy. Kind of always hard to tell if fuel filters are actually dirty or not, but I got the new one, so we're replacing it. And even spraying for the Yamaha genuine part. The internet also told me that these HPDIs, they really like you to use actual Yamaha parts, like the Johnsons and Evinrudes and some of the older stuff. Man, you can really get away with using that Chinese crap, but apparently on these ones, you gotta use Yamaha stuff or they get unhappy with you. I guess I could check and see if I'm getting fuel out of here. Am I getting fuel out of here? here. This did not look like it was full. This is where all my fuel comes in at. So if I'm not even getting fuel out of here, okay, let's see. This should go into, I would assume, another filter there. God, this thing's got a lot of filters in it. Yeah, and this goes into the 2 fuel pumps, these are the impulse fuel pumps over here that run off engine vacuum, what they call the lift pumps. Those actually take the gas from the gas tank and bring it to the engine, and then the high pressure pumps up here do the rest. Really overly complicated system, but whatever, it is what it is. That's what we're working with. So if these things, guys, aren't lifting fuel up in here, it's definitely not gonna run, or at least it's not gonna run well. I've got crud inside this thing. Filter was doing its job. Let me go ahead and see if I can get a little glass so you guys can take a look at that. Okay, and I'm back. I got the first clear glass I could find. Yuck. Yeah, that wasn't even all of what was in there. Dang, dude. Gross. It definitely tells me that some of these filters really needs changing if that's the crud that's in the bottom of the first line of defense. Ooh, frickin' nasty, dude. Yeah, take a look at that. That's not what you want to see floating around in your fuel, but it also says the fuel filter was doing its job, so that's a good thing. You guys can keep an eye on this as when I crank the key, and let me know if any fuel comes out. All right, got anything in there? No dice. I wonder if that has to have seal in order for it to work. It might. Let me go ahead and put it back together and we'll see if it fills up. Got anything in there? Nothing. So my lift pumps might not be working. Okay, we filled up after squeezing the bulb. Does that get gas in there? Dude, nothing. Ending our search for what's causing our no fuel issue kind of early here. Well, it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I unfortunately do not have the impulse drive lift fuel pump rebuild kits on hand. So this portion of the video might be over very fast. It's like the smallest amount in there after squeezing the bulb for a while. What I'm gonna go ahead and do now is I've got one more water separator in there. And I'm just gonna go ahead and bypass that and see what that gets us. Just hook directly into this from my fuel canister. That might be where my issue lies as well. Probably a Yamaha tech in the comment section right now going, that is not the procedure. Unfortunately, the books for the HPDI are no longer in print, so unless I'm gonna pay $400 for one on eBay, which if I end up keeping these, I will. But unless I'm getting that, I don't know the proper procedure. I would have bought a freaking manual first thing. You just can't unless you're willing to bust out the big bucks. They made so many of these freaking engines. It's crazy to me that they didn't keep printing the manuals. Okay, well, it's definitely full of fuel now. I can hear this thing filling up too. All right, let's turn the water on, give it a crank now and see what happens. That's more promising. There we go. There we stop. Come on. Hell yeah. Oh, hell no. This gas is going somewhere. Well, I ain't kicking it out of bed, boys. And would you look at that? We even got ourselves a squirter. Now, unfortunately, the other motor, I need to repair the tilt and trim before I can get it down, but it's a 2-stroke, so it shouldn't matter which way it's pointed, upside down, sideways, or cattywampus. It should run regardless. Well, let's see if lightning strikes twice. Okay.
Walk out the door, you see someone that you know and they ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
The highest of highs and the lowest of lows. Not low yet. If you heard that initial crank on this thing, that was not sounding good. It sounded like the motor was locked up. I was hoping it was the starter, but banged on the starter, applied power directly to the starter, same thing. Pulled all the plugs, same thing. Put it in gear and tried to spin the prop by hand, same thing. Not looking good. So I went ahead and I filled the cylinders up with PB Blaster and Marvel's Mystery Marvelo oil, whatever the fuck that stuff is made out of. Smells like skull wintergreen to me. Stuffed some of that into the cylinders, let it sit for a few minutes, and now we got this. Call it a definite improvement. But I'm gonna go ahead and refill those cylinders with some PB Blaster Skull Wintergreen mix. Let that sit for a good 15-20 minutes, and then I'll break out the old heartbreaker and do a compression test. I've let that concoction sit in there long enough for my sweaty shirt not to dry, but for it to get freezing inside and for me to start shivering. So I had to come back outside and start sweating again so I can warm up. Anyway, let's see what the Lovometer has to say about this engine. My hopes right now are not high. I thought I had actually done a compression test on this, but I'll have to go back and look through my videos because I must not have. Cross your fingers for me on this one, boys. That's about what these engines do. They're not super high freaking PSI engines. Right under 110 PSI. We got our hand on this girl's leg. Is she gonna let us slide the digits up her thigh? Right about 105, 110. So far, we're looking good, baby. Let's go ahead and slide it on in for the goal. We might get lucky. Behind door number 4. Still. Is this the reason they freaking sold this thing so cheap? An engine that just needed a little bit of freaking PB Blaster in the cylinders? Let's go again. That one's at 120. Doesn't throw the balance off enough to be that bad, but it's a little higher than I expected. It better not freaking skunk me on literally the last cylinder. We got our hands fully up the thigh and under the skirt at this point. Hope that we find heaven on the other side and not an ugly surprise. Do we have heartbreak? No, dude. The compression on this motor is freaking fine! Well, I was gonna finish working on the boat and try to get that other motor running, and I was gonna go on another motorcycle ride, but Mother Nature had other plans. It's Florida. It'd be weirder if it didn't rain. Unfortunately, we are fast running out of time. Running out of time for that raffle and running out of time to finish this video, because not only does this video have to come out, but we're supposed to start live streaming to pick a winner in just a few hours. If you guys didn't know this about me, I am forever cutting it not just close, but usually cutting it a little too late. All right, team, just because we're at the end of this video doesn't mean we're at the end of having fun tonight. We've got a live stream coming up after this video starting 6:30 to 7 p.m. This video should be coming out as soon as I finish editing and uploading it, actually. There are mere hours left, maybe even minutes, depending on when you're watching this, to grab a ticket to win that twin cam Softail Springer. They don't make them like that anymore. It's a freaking awesome bike. If you want to ride that thing back home, it'll come with a one-way ticket here to Tampa to come party with us. It's always a little better when a motorcycle comes with a little adventure on the side. But don't feel like you have to do that. We will gladly also drop it off right at your doorstep. The link to grab your raffle ticket is down below. The proceeds of that, 100% of it is going to Forgotten Angels to help their fight against the cycle of abuse in the foster care system. What these young men and women are going through in America is nothing short of heinous, and it turns my stomach that this kind of abuse and this kind of neglect can happen in this country, right in our own neighborhood. These are your neighbors that we're talking about here. Dave and Cindy at Forgotten Angels, they're aiming to be the family that these kids never had, especially now with the government retracting over $500 million in aid to aged out foster care teens. It's more important than ever now, because let me tell you, $400 or $500 doesn't sound like a lot per month to get an aid from the federal government, but if Forgotten Angels was helping 100 kids, that'd amount to about $50,000 a month in aid that they're no longer gonna have to help these young men and women rebuild their lives. Raffle tickets are $25 a pop. Please don't buy one unless you can absolutely afford one. Don't look at it as a raffle ticket, look at it as a donation to Forgotten Angels. And if you can't afford to donate to a charity, you should should not get one because I don't want to put two people in a bad situation. But if you got a couple extra bucks lying around, and if you're looking to score an extra raffle ticket, there's still about 70 spots open for the beta testing on Orion AI. That link is also down below. As I said in a previous video, Shop Goblin has come traipsing back into our lives, though she never really left. She just went off to college for a while. The Orion AI is something that I'm incredibly excited about. Obviously, she is too, and everybody who's participating in the beta testing now, it's hard to find somebody who's not insanely impressed by this thing. In the world we live in now, with the dangers of artificial intelligence living in people's pockets and giving them bad advice, sycophantic parrots to young people in this world, what Kayla has built here with 3 independent AIs working together so they can not only disagree with you, but also disagree with themselves and create something that you can actually talk to and not worry as much about it cropping up bad behavior. Anyway, there's way more information on the website. I have a couple of unlisted videos as well with more information on Orion AI. Right now, there's about 70 spots left in the beta testing, and every single one of those spots will come with a free raffle ticket. But I'm uploading this now because if you get one of those spots, you have to email Kayla. Her email address will be on the site. You got to email her your address and your phone number and all your information because I have to enter that into the raffle. So get in on that before 5 p.m. so I have time to take all that stuff and load it in so you make sure that you're entered. And if you get in after 5 p.m., don't worry. If you're still participating in the beta AI next month, we'll enter you into the next raffle that Forgotten Angels does. Shay Lisi also set up the Teenage Dirtbag Fashion Show. Those entries will also end at 5 p.m. Make sure you check out her Instagram for all the instructions. We'll be judging all the submissions on how far they've come or how far they've fallen since their teenage years live on the Shade Tree Surgeon channel before we pull the winner for the Softail Springer. So don't enter your picture into that unless you've got some thick skin, because I'm gonna be pulling the gloves off for this one. All the information on how to get your submission into that is on the Shay Lisi Instagram. Make sure you're following her there and send us in your pics if you want to get in again before 5 o'clock. And I'll see you guys in the live stream, which should be happening pretty soon. So I'm gonna go get ready for that. Till next time, keep it weird.
Crashing through the sky comes a fearful cry. Shade tree, army. Shade tree, army. Armies of the night, evil taking flight. Shade tree, army. Shade tree, army. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Panic spreading far and wide. Can the world oppose the deadliest of foes? Shade tree, army. Shade tree, army. Who will risk it all to end the evil call of Shade Tree? Army. Shade Tree, army. They never give up, they never say die, walking tall with banners high. Shade Tree Army, a ruthless gang of scum, villains, freaks, and bikers determined to rule the world.